Alright, y'all. This is immediately after recording my last video, which is just the tour of all my bikes, where I idiotically said this and that were my favorite bike when it's obviously only one. That's my favorite to ride. That's my, well, but it's my favorite to rip around on with buddies, and that's my favorite one to take long rides on, down trails and stuff like that. But this video is about this bike. This is my first bike out of all of these, and there's a story behind it that I can only half tell for reasonable reasons. So I think I was 15 when I first saw this bike and heard it store. Well, I've heard it store before, but it was first saw that bike. We used to own a property up in Ash Fork where this bike sat under a tree, literally sat under a tree, chained to a tree for probably 12, 13 years from the last time it was rode, because my dad, who bought it from a guy who got it in, we just don't know how he got it. We'll say that. So my dad bought this bike and rode the shit out of it and ended up crashing it real bad up there in Ash Fork, fucking up his knee for, he put a hole in his knee coming over a hill, and there was a truck parked in the middle of the road, and he slid out on the bike, and it was just a long story. But this bike sat under that tree, and the visuals of that crash and injury were held in my mom's mind for all that time until we sold that property, and I made her, or didn't make her, I forced her to let me take the bike home because I had always wanted one since I was real little. And I was happy as a motherfucker. It was a piece of shit. It did not look like this. It doesn't look good right now anyway, but it used to look like a hunk of shit just lying there. Like, you see how the engine's kind of messed up? Imagine that, only 10 times worse on the entire bike. So I got it home, and after sitting for 13 years, 15-year-old me got it running in 2 days. Carb clean, just basic shit, fired right up. But the piston rings were worn, and it used to spew clouds of smoke out. And that's where I got the name. I used to call it after the old mosquito trucks in the 70s, like the DMT, no, what the fuck is it? The old mosquito trucks, you know what I'm talking about. They used to drive around the street, letting out plumes of smoke. And I didn't have a job back then, so I literally helped move my buddy's house out, like all his furniture and stuff like that, for pay. And I put a brand new set of Michelin star crosses on there, which ended up being a mistake because I only took the bike out on 2 rides. The first ride I went out with my dad. It was my first time riding a motorcycle, and I've driven clutch for a long time, so I knew how to do that properly. I had no problem with that. But halfway through the ride, I went to kickstart it where I stalled and snapped the kickstart lever right here. Just snapped it clean off. So that fucked me up. Had to fix that. 80 bucks. It wasn't a real big deal to replace it, but it was 80 bucks. On top of those, I think after installation, $250 tires. So I'm this far into this shitty bike, and I take it out for another ride with my buddy who rides it, and I ride that red bike over there. And I don't know if he messed it up or I messed it up, but that bike had an issue about halfway through the ride. So I left him there because it was his first time riding with that bike. And I took this bike and I hauled ass back to the truck. It ran great. Put it up on the trailer, went back and got the other bike. And the next time I took this bike out, it just wouldn't work. It still turns over, I think. I haven't messed with it in a long time. Yeah, it turns over. Still got compression and everything, but it just won't. I think it skipped a tooth on the timing chain. I took that valve cover off. I think that's what happened. But that's just the story of this bike. I don't know if I'll ever get it running again or not, but it is what it is. That's how it goes. It was the start of a great journey, which is continuing on for hopefully many years ahead. Y'all have a good one. Fly high.